You know, working at the White House was a real honor and a privilege, especially for an attorney to be able to counsel the United States President and his staff during such historic times. And walking through those White House gates on a daily basis was something that dreams are made of. And it was probably a seed that was planted in my brain when I was a little girl, around 5, 6 years old. We lived in Washington, D.C. My dad was a football coach at George Washington University. And John Kennedy was the president then, and we often would ride by the White House in hopes of seeing the Kennedy kids, Caroline and John, outside playing. And my mother absolutely loved the White House. She found it to be beautiful, its furnishings, its history. And so we often took the tour of the White House. And I even got to guard Caroline Kennedy's lemonade stand one day when we were standing in a long, hot line trying to get into the White House. And as we approached, she ran out of lemonade. And she asked my mom to guard her lemonade stand. And luckily for me, my mom turned it over to me to guard. And I can remember looking down and seeing a little cigar box with money in it and from her lemonade sales. And later, come to realize that that was probably a box that once held the president's cigars. And when I look back on that day and where I've traveled since that day, that led me to the White House again to work with someone as great as Erskine Bowles. It has my family and Charlotte 49ers all over it. I had a wonderful upbringing. I had a very close-knit family. We moved to different towns and cities because my dad was a college, high school, NFL football coach. My parents, Joe and Peggy Popp, raised me and my two brothers, Joey and Jimmy, to work hard, give it our all, dream big, be the best at what we chose to do, get involved, be compassionate, be passionate, give back, and never forget where you came from. So when I chose UNC Charlotte, I had no idea that the foundation that my parents had given me would be fully utilized and further developed on this campus. This university gave me the platform to blossom in 4 short years as I transitioned to adulthood. I worked hard in the classroom, but I pursued equally hard the many extracurricular activities on this campus. As Erskine said, women's basketball, resident life, student government. I got involved in women's issues on this campus, including the Year of the Woman, and that's just to name a few. I further developed and honed my leadership skills, my social skills, my professional drive, my confidence to succeed, all of which have served me extremely well. I found mentors here that would be with me for my life and for years to come. Chuck Lynch, Judy Rose, Betty Chafin-Rash, Chancellors Calvert and Fretwell, Dennis Doran, members of the Board of Trustees that I got to meet as a student body president, C.C. Cameron, Russell Robinson. This great institution helped to set me on a path that I have traveled to this day, starting with that first step after graduation, studying law at Oxford University on a scholarship that a professor on this campus nominated me for. Moving to England at the age of 22, graduating from this university, no doubt changed my trajectory. And this university gave me that chance. After graduating from law school in this country at Chapel Hill, as Erskine said, I moved to New York. I was a Wall Street lawyer for a while before I became a federal prosecutor in New York. I moved to Washington to be in the Legal Counsel's office to the Attorney General of the United States before I went to the White House to be President Clinton's counsel in the second term and had the great honor of working with Erskine Bowles. I left the White House and joined my current law firm, Sidley Austin, as a full equity partner, where I'm now the head of my practice group and help manage the firm by being on the executive committee. And throughout all my professional development, I always came back here. I have never forgotten where I came from. And as my parents also taught me, I have always tried to find ways to give back. To give back to the very institution that helped set me on the path in life that I have traveled as an adult. So it was a no-brainer when I was working at the White House to accept an invitation to come back to campus to speak an event. I'd been back here many times before that and would do so many more times after that. But this one time in 1997 would turn out to be a special visit, where the stars aligned for a brief moment and where I would meet someone 17 years my junior, and we would instantly connect. I remember Chuck Lynch saying to me, "I want you to meet one of our student leaders, Demond Martin." As I talked to Demond, as Erskine said, it was instant. I was instantly impressed. When he asked me how he could perhaps get a summer job at the White House, I told him to send me his resume. Chuck Lynch and Chancellor Woodward followed up with me and told me what an unbelievable person he was. So when I got back to the White House, I took the necessary steps, and Demond was offered a summer job in the Vice President's office. And as Demond does, he shows up and he blew the socks off. Everyone loved him. I alerted Erskine that we had a Charlotte guy with us, and as Erskine just told you, Erskine fell in love with him, offered the job. Now what Erskine may not know is that Demond came to my office after getting that offer and wanted to talk about it. And he said the same thing to me. He said, I don't have money, I've got this job at Arthur Andersen, I've got this wonderful fiance back in Charlotte. I'm not sure I can do this. So I took him to the White House Mess. Now the White House Mess that name does not give it justice. It's a beautiful dining room that only presidential appointees can eat in. It's just a wonderful small place in the West Wing. And I took Demond there. And I said, "Demond, you're not turning down Erskine Bowles." I said, "Demond, this could change your life. A job like this, working for a person like this, could actually change your life." And the rest is history. His life did change. Erskine changed his life because Demond, again, knocked the socks off. And the friendship that Demond and I started back in 1997 has continued to grow to this day. I love him very much. He is like another brother to me. And as I continue to come back to this campus, staying involved and giving back, I've developed other wonderful friendships. Chancellor Woodward, Chancellor Dubois, Gene Johnson, Joe Price, Thea Jamil, Mike Wilson, Ruth Shaw. I could just go on and on. It's been a real honor to serve this university as on the Board of Trustees and as its chair, and to now serve as the chair of the Foundation Board. It's been a privilege to be part of the magnificent growth of this university, the fastest growing university in the whole UNC system. And it was an honor to be part of the decision to bring football to this campus. From the moment I chose UNC Charlotte, my father, the football coach, said to me, "Charlotte needs a football team." He often said, Charlotte could be like a UCLA, an urban campus with a great sports program that everyone will rally around, and it cause an explosion of the university. And as we know, every major city in this country has a major university. And it is wonderful to see how well town and gown have grown together over the years. So today is a culmination for me. Although I've been on this campus hundreds of times and I'll be back hundreds more, today is a day to reflect to what I was when I first arrived here as a freshman, moving in to Sanford dorm, meeting my first roommate, Nancy Davis, who's here today, and how I grew while being here as a student, and to what I've become today. That's a culmination. And I'm humbled as I reflect on that, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful for my wonderful parents. They would be so pleased and proud today if they were still on this earth. And I'm very sad they're not. Family was everything to them. And from their teachings and demonstration, family is everything to me and to my brothers who are here today, Joey and Jimmy with their families. My parents' 58 years of marriage created an environment and a safe haven for their children to excel in whatever personal and professional paths they chose, and to have each other's love and support along the way. My whole family, and there's a lot here, are all 49ers, and that's because I'm a 49er. Indeed, my niece Haley, who's Jimmy's oldest, they're twins, but she came first, is a freshman here, and she's already jumped right in to what this campus offers. She's studying nonstop in the library, as I did as a freshman, but she's also already a gold duster. And my 10-year-old twin sons are already 49ers. My wife proudly wears Charlotte green, even though she's a double who, having gone to UVA undergrad in law. And as a result, we sometimes have to cheer for the Wahoos wearing blue and orange. But I want to thank my wife and boys. Because of them, I now see so much more clearly why my parents raised me the way they did, and how their love for each other and their children have carried me every step of the way to this day. And I can only hope that I provide my children with everything my parents gave to me to go out into this world and have a happy and successful life. I want to thank my entire extended family for being here, many of whom are here, some of whom came from afar, my brothers and their families, my mother's sister, who, when she walked in, she looked so much like my mother, it brought tears to my eyes, my Aunt Frankie, and her husband, Uncle Worth, and their children. My dad's brother's daughter, and again, my dad's brother looks just like him, and it's so wonderful to have her here. My in-laws, who are my best friends, are here. MC's brother and his family and their cousins. And my sister's-in-law's sister is here, whose daughter babysits for us in Chapel Hill. It's all in the family. But finally, I want to thank this great university, not only for the honor of today's naming, but for everything else it has given me. From the moment I arrived on campus, moving into Sanford dorm, it's been wonderful, even to this day. And for giving me Demond and the many others that I've met along the way, these friendships have been priceless. Thank you, Demond. It's been almost 20 years since we first met, and I look forward to many more wonderful times together. Thank you, Chancellor Dubois, Jean Johnson, Judy Rose, and Joe, and the Board of Trustees for making this day possible. I am so pleased to be able to give back to this great university by staying involved and supporting its growth. And hopefully other alums and 49ers will join us. UNC Charlotte will always be part of our personal histories. Embrace this great institution, experience what it offers, and be involved. We're all 49ers. Thank you, and go Niners.